deep shade. Hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. Say hello, but this is really goodbye to Drag Race. This is the Gambit Magazine, Shady Ladies podcast. We're here to wax nostalgic about the season that was on RuPaul's Drag Race and to shed a filthy tear, because my tears are filthy, just so you know. Over the end of this fabulous show for this year, I'm Samir Roy, contributing editor for Gambit Magazine, joined as always by my Shady Lady cohort.
Hi, I'm Margaret Poupard.
And, wow, it was quite a finale. There was so much, stuff leading up to it. They really built up the interest in this finale brilliantly. I'm just, it was so brilliantly executed that, I can't be mad at it.
No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Do I look mad? I'm not mad.
No, but, people were mad.
I know.
It's
Dude,
so
the
weird.
Comments were
insane.
Harsh. Lord
so bad
mercy.
that RuPaul even said that. He's like, I know, we're in a social media age. He talked about the social media aspect of how show's grown so much in that arena, but that it's also gone to a dark place. And I'm like, people just feel so open about saying shitty things in any forum, and it's so much easier to say it online that anything will bring out, anything at all will bring out the worst. Kind of reminded me of that moment in Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 where she's like, really, you've never seen, what was it, a porn or something? You've never seen a porn movie? Seriously, just type anything into the internet. Fish, sandwich, hat, anything, and you will find porn. It was the same thing. No matter what the show is, you will find hateful, disturbing crap in comment sections. I mean, Yahoo's by far the worst.
Really?
Oh my god, in total insanity on the Yahoo comments on anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could literally just be a story about new tennis balls being used at the French Open, and there will be some racist bastard down there somewhere who says some bullshit about Serena Williams, and I'm like, granted, she is a beast on something, but, people say some horrible shit.
But we don't need to be racist
But it
about
goes from, something totally innocuous, a new ball,
to racism.
To that, and I'm like, where the fuck? And there's 3,000 comments because people just can't stop spewing insanity online. So
I sometimes get sucked into a deep comment K-hole.
Right.
You just get fascinated and you get into people's arguments. You're not typing any sort of response, but you get into it I wonder if they're actually gonna fight each other in the street.
Yeah, I mean, and you want to start typing, seriously, I end up writing such long, I'm I just wrote a fucking essay. I could turn this in at a gender studies class at Cal, for God's sake, at this point. This could be my fucking thesis, and I typed it all into a Yahoo comment because I'm so royally pissed off. I have to have that moment from Jay in Wonder Falls where she's telling the girl who's doing the exorcism, just look at what you're doing. I have to be oh, wait a minute, let's just look at this.
I stopped doing that long ago when I was you know what, if I'm actually so pissed off about it, I will go write something actually productive, not in a comment box, and actually attempt to make some money off of it or something. Just have it not live in a hateful comment section, because goddamn, I mean, I've got some of the worst shit in my life from people I've never met about an article that I wrote about coffee. I will never get over this. I don't understand.
Something as innocuous as coffee.
Yes, I thought
inspired insanity.
Insane amounts of hate towards me, how I'm a complete idiot, how I didn't understand this, that, and the other thing, how what the fuck do you know, fuck you, you're a bitch, just insane shit.
And that's just coffee. Imagine if you're someone who's actually performing as a drag performer.
Can't even imagine the amount of crap from people that are even your own fans, because people feel really entitled to tell you when you're doing something that they don't like, and they will tell you very loudly and
this
not
is my
nice.
voice. Someone needs to hear my voice, and unfortunately, you've chosen to say.
I understand that a lot of us weren't heard as children, and I know that social media is a way to just kind of vent whatever sort of family issues you have trapped deep down inside. But I also, I hate this let me just fucking tell you why you suck X, Y, and Z. It's I guess you really just need someone to listen to you. It's really, just calm down. It's not personal. It's not a personal attack on you. I think the level that people take it to, which is this personal attack when really it's not about you at all, it's just kind of, it never ceases to amaze me. It's not shocking. It's just, it is a gross fabric of human being.
See, it's not like our deep shade. We're kind of like Violet, you know? It always comes from a place of truth or a place of humor.
I'm not trying to be shady right now. I just wanted to tell you. I'm doing this new thing right now where I'm telling people that I'm not being shady, and it's a compliment.
So nobody gets confused.
But I swear that's essentially what we do a lot of the time. Like, this is just how we talk. We are not mean. I mean, not sincerely, hatefully
We're just mean
mean.
to people that deserve to be treated that way, I guess.
Which turns out to be a lot of people, but hey, that's not our fault.
Hey, I'm very Southern in that way. I present very nicely to people, and I will be polite with them, you know, but I'll still be kind of my bitchy self a little bit. I just got to get a laugh out of everybody, no matter who you are.
Oh my gosh,
you know, that's
totally.
the most important thing in life for me, is if I make you laugh. And I do that with you a lot, so we get along well.
Oh my gosh. You laugh at my jokes, laugh at your jokes.
It works out.
We love donuts.
Yeah, yes, this is these
Some
are
match made in heaven.
The bonds of deep friendship. Forged right there.
Yes, and Drag Race.
But
so I can't.
Drag Race really they knew what they had and they manipulated it so perfectly, because everybody was suddenly like, "Oh my god, are you kidding? This was rigged for Ginger Minj to win." Because we kind of felt like, in a lot of ways along the way, like, you know, there have been a lot of challenges that were geared more towards what Ginger was good at than what some of the other queens were good at. But hey, there was still a lot of half the show is what you create on the runway. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that's half the show. That's how the other half of all your challenges, like, you're not being judged just on what you do in the music video or what you do in the sing-along thing or the acting challenge or, you know, whatever it was. Like, that's not the only thing you're judged on that week. It's always on what you bring to the runway as well.
And that's also kind of like the first and last thing that they see of you as well on the runway. So it's always important to bring it to that. But I think the reason why everybody, and at least especially I, like, bought into the conspiracies that were all over the internet the weekend leading up to the finale, on top of being sick, and just was like, give me everything Drag Race. And I was just deep Googling.
Best medicine there is.
I think Ginger really did play the game, quote unquote, of the show really well. So much to the point that I was believing that, like, if it is so-called rigged, then yes, she will win. I mean, it's like a math equation. You know, if it is really rigged and she really can sew, which we have found that she can, and she really can dance, which I have heard and read that she can, and that she was just playing it all up for the camera to have this, like, giant arc of, like, and then she pulled through, that gal Ginge. She played everybody that well, but I was kind of surprised, but really wasn't surprised that she didn't win, because as you made the point in your review, and also I think that what you were getting to a couple seconds ago, which is Ginger's runway looks have all been very predictable. They all looked exactly the same. But I think what's really shocking to me is not necessarily that Ginger did or didn't win and that Violet won. It's that so many people just didn't care for like anybody in the top three. Everybody had a different favorite. I mean, even beyond Katya, there are a lot of, like, Kennedy shippers and a couple Trixie, a lot of Trixie shippers, what am I saying, that all kind of felt like they had gone too early and that it was all kind of, like, rigged to engineer this kind of tear-jerking story for Ginger in the end. Like, you know, she took the crown from her Texas BFF, or not Texas, I'm sorry, her fellow pageant queen BFF Kennedy. So what I found most interesting was that nobody really liked any of the queens in the top three in general. They all kind of wanted somebody else that had been eliminated a while ago to have won. So those were kind of the two interesting takeaways for me.
I didn't understand why people wanted Kennedy in the finale. She was just like, the whole show
I only
seemed like...
wanted her in the finale because when I watched RuPaul's music video, I was like, man, I wish I could have seen Kennedy dance in this.
Well, yeah, that was the big irony of, like, when she went home. Like, she went home when the only time that she actually did really well, like, throughout an entire episode. That's when she gets sent home.
Except for the acting.
Except for the acting, but,
which
like,
stuck out the most.
The dancing in the video, and she finally had, like, the best runway look she'd had the whole season.
That gown was amazing.
I was concerned. I loved it, but I'm like, this is, like, she finally wears something that's, like, really great. She does really great, at least in, like, a major part of one of the challenges that week, and then she went home. And I'm like, after all the time she won for being, like, mediocre, or being, like, praised
the three times she won for being mediocre.
It was just, like, so, to me, I was like, what am I, like...
And so I think that kind of fed into, like, the conspiracies of, like, it feels rigged. Because, like, also with, like, the Katya going home part, I also felt was a little weird. It just felt like
Katya
abrupt.
Wasn't the worst of that week.
No,
it was, like,
again,
really...
Kennedy that was when I was like, she should have gone home that day. Not when you guys had sent her home. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, both of her outfits, like you said, it comes down to your runway looks. Both of her runway looks were boring. And there were things that we had
Yeah.
already seen, and, like, the catsuit didn't even come together in an interesting way. And, yes, her lip sync was amazing. But also, you could have argued that Katya didn't really belong in the bottom 2 that week either.
Yeah, that's more, like, I was, like, more upset by that. I was like, why is she even in the bottom 2? Because I kind of felt like, who was it? There was somebody else that week that I thought should have been in the bottom 2 but wasn't. But one of the funny things I discovered online as well was a fan video from Honey Mahogany from, was it season 4, I believe. She hosts a drag race viewing party at some club or some bar in San Francisco every Monday. It's always, like, super crowded.
Oh.
I've never actually gone, but one week she had Trixie Mattel there, and Trixie was, like, talking about, well, you know, like, she was joking about how, like, there were certain things that they didn't show of her in the show, and that they did certain things with her on the show that she's like, well, they had to spend more time creating a storyline for Pearl. That's a full-time job. Like,
Oh,
like
wow.
shit like that. I was like,
Shade.
Trixie, I am sad I was not there that night.
I know. Jeez.
Because
Okay.
she was
Spilling
dropping it
tea.
like it's hot.
Okay.
It was always like, oh, there's even, like, she's, like, not shy. She's not shy. That's another major reason to go see her at a show. Because that girl's not shy. She will tell you shit that she probably shouldn't say. But then you could probably still get away with in court if anyone was ever going to take it there.
I don't think, yeah. And the show's already all over. So it's not like she revealed who the winner was or anything like that.
No, nothing like
so.
that. She just told us what she could to make it juicy. And juicy it was.
Yeah, it was.
I was both a little underwhelmed with some of the choices for the finale reunion looks on some of the queens. Like, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're all going to bring out. Kennedy obviously came out in an amazing outfit. Again, that's probably, like, the best thing she wore all season. They usually try to save the absolute best, you know, for then. And she acquitted herself well with that look. I wanted so much more from Max's look. I loved the look, but I was like, this is the finale. Like, you were your grandest thing. You've got all this old Hollywood glamour drag in your closet.
We've seen her wear better.
Yeah, on the show. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have something better than what you had on the show for this finale. I mean, granted, it was probably very utilitarian. She's like, it's going to be fucking hot on that stage with a bunch of other queens with their balls wrapped up in 4 layers of pantyhose under, like, a million lights in the Los Angeles Orpheum Theater. And we're going to be waiting around for hours and hours. I'm going to wear something fucking airy. I'm going to be so happy all day. And she was. I was surprised that she was like, I'm really not that much of a prude, because they were like, you seemed really, like, conservative, or, like, you seemed really reticent to, like, be sex or talk about sex in any way on the show. It's like, well, you know, it was, like, all that they talked about. So I was just kind of, like, over it, and they happened to capture me at that moment where we're just over talking about sex. But seriously, I'm not, like, a prude like that. I was just like, well, that's refreshing to you. Thank God. God with an A-W in the middle. God.
She does have a very Mary Poppins proper feel, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't that hard to manipulate that moment out of her, to be honest.
But I would still have to find her somewhere performing.
I wonder what Max's stage show is like.
I'm very curious what it would be like. Would it be kind of like Jinx Monsoon's vaudevillian show? Like, you know, it's got, like, an old classic, like, 20s vibe to it, you know?
I don't know, can Max
I don't know if Max can sing.
dance or sing or
But
something?
I love that they mentioned that they both went to the same school. That Max and Trixie went to the same college, which I think we actually talked about in a previous episode, because I think I remember reading that, or I forgot where I read it. I've read so many things, it's hard to narrow it down now on this show. But I do remember that they went to school together, and they were like, so did Max have that accent in college? There's a video somewhere online of them in the chorus of some show at, like, whatever, Western Michigan State University.
Are they both from Michigan?
I don't know if they're both. No, Max is from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, there we go. I get those two states confused.
But went to college in
Yeah,
Michigan.
no. I just get Wisconsin and Michigan sometimes flipped in my mind for literally no reason. It's just cold and no one wants to go there.
I've never been. I'm not against it, I suppose, but I don't know what I do there except visit some national parks.
I think that's kind of just what you're supposed to
Mall
do.
of America, that's around there, isn't it? I go there.
Is
just
that in
to see.
Michigan?
it's around there.
Okay.
Somewhere in that general vicinity.
I'll have to consult Drop Dead Gorgeous because that's all I know about the Mall of America.
You know, it's somewhere up there, like the Dakotas, it's in the St. Paul, Twin Cities. It's in the Twin Cities.
Okay. Minnesota?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nonetheless, I don't know. Max is not from Michigan, but he went to college did musical theater with Trixie Mattel, who I thought actually looked great. I loved her outfit. I thought it was perfectly Trixie. I was very happy to see Trixie in all her glory at the finale. Her talk with Rue was interesting. It was much more congenial than I thought it was going to be.
Why would you think it wouldn't be?
Well, just because Trixie's had a
vocal.
loose tongue. Perhaps looser than I know. On her touring, on her tours that she's been doing during the season. But she's been very vocal about being upset about being eliminated. Twice. But she took it well. She knows how to take it well on camera. Take that however you want.
Well, I saw pictures from the red carpet, and Trixie was rollerblading down it. And I was like, no tennis racket?
No tennis racket. She's on to rollerblading. She's going with
I know. I was like, drop the tennis racket for some rollerblades. Interesting
Barbie
choice.
loves to rollerblade.
That's true. I was really kind of hoping that she'd pull up in some sort of, bubblegum pink, convertible nightmare. Like Angeline.
I loved her. He's like, I hear you do a really good RuPaul impression. I want to hear it. And he actually did it. RuPaul actually didn't insult it, which usually, when people say, oh, I could... It's like, oh, I heard you could do this other thing that redeems this thing that you did poorly here. And they're like, oh, yeah, do it. With Ivy Winters. He's like, oh, so who else would you have done for Snatch Game? It's like, oh, I would have done Julia Child. Or... He's like, let's hear it. And he's like, keep that sewing machine humming, girl. But no, when Trixie did her impression, RuPaul actually cracked up.
Well, it's because Trixie's really talented.
On the runway, you're a doll, but your performance in the challenge was manufactured.
Trixie is actually, really good impressionist. I don't think anybody could be insulted by that. But all I could think about was... that Brazilian from, I think it's season 2 or 3.
Not Brazilian. Puerto Rican.
Oh, Puerto Rican. I can't remember.
America's Next Drag Superstar.
Did a terrible RuPaul impression. That is...
Oh, that was...
No.
It was Jessica Wilde.
Thank you.
But Drew loved it because it was so crazy and funny. It was insane,
but it drove me insane watching it in that episode. But that's all I can ever think of when RuPaul's like, okay, so do your impression of me. I'm like, it's gonna be insane and terrible. But it wasn't. But all I can think about is Jessica Wilde.
I think it was season 3.
Was it season 3? I knew it was early because I just remember watching it in the little box, the litter box of non-HD.
Yes. Someday, logo, get with it.
My God.
I want you in HD.
Worst app, worst player, and their website. I was trying to pull up the episode because you said you wanted to rewatch some of it, and I was trying to pull it up on my computer again so we could watch it. Was not loading, nothing was working, couldn't get it on the app, nothing.
Because everybody was watching it for free on the website. At 7 p.m.? I guess so.
But I had watched it earlier that day. Totally fine.
Everyone
no
got
problems.
Home from work. I don't know.
I guess. You would have had it spoiled? Whatever.
Nonetheless, it's, problematic to say the least.
Problematic. Logo, please, let me help you hire some dev people to get all these issues settled. I'll help you.
Let Margot help you hire me?
Yeah, you know what? We can fix a lot of issues that we've encountered.
We're for hire to do that, too. We got busy lives, but I would gladly make time for this.
Oh, we're totally for hire, though.
That would be great.
Yeah, not for free.
Not for free, but please just let us help you or let us find someone to help you.
Yeah, you guys need some help on the site.
I know you're working on it, but there's things that can be done. I will have
I can't not...
I'll have a
I will not
fundraiser.
stand for my drag race being compromised when I want to watch it more than fucking once.
I
don't mean to curse and get upset. I just was getting very annoyed because it's technology and it should just work because it's 2015 and where's my fucking hoverboard? All right, done. End rant. Let's talk about Katya winning Miss Congeniality.
I mean, we all kind of knew that she was going to win because she had to win something.
She had to. How could she have not? It just breaks my heart she didn't win. So
I know, because it was just so obvious that, she was... I felt like she was the ideal winner. I know we kind of felt like of the 3 that were there... Ginger Minj was the most well-rounded, it seemed, overall. But like I said, it was kind of it was getting kind of stale towards the last half of the season for me. The eggs moment was great because her little Edie impression was brilliant enough to warrant John Waters being one of her videos of support in this finale, which was a lovely surprise.
I know. I was
I'm like, is that his San Francisco apartment? I think it might be.
Super sleuth. Put on your super sleuth glasses and tell us.
I do know like the part of town that his. I know where he lives. I know not exactly. I know
not to sound totally weird,
but I'm not telling anybody. I'm gonna respect that because people ask him at shows. Like he's like, oh, who's got questions? We're like, where's your house in San Francisco? And he's like, I'm not telling you.
Why in the world would you think that would work?
People are that obsessed. They're that obsessed and stupid. But,
oh Lord, I'm obsessed, but I'm not that obsessed. Not in the invade your privacy obsessed.
Yeah,
realm.
I'm not gonna go chasing.
If I'm gonna get your
him.
autograph, it's not gonna be on a restraining order. Trust me.
No, we're good stalkers. We're the kinds who would pay money to see him.
Yeah,
frequently.
I'm not gonna bother you.
I'll get in line
shit.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Like everyone else who's a big fan. I'm no better than any of these people.
I might hug you one extra 4 times, but it's cool. Don't worry about it.
He's touchy about hugs. He's very concerned about catching other people's germs or something.
Well, when you're older, you get sick easier.
And he goes everywhere.
I can't imagine traveling a ton is easy on your immune system at his age or at any age.
But he seems to be getting by just fine. He did say that
because of no hugs.
Yeah, but he did say that fruitcake, that Christmas movie he was planning to do, is no longer happening.
No.
He's working on something else.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's got something else in the pipeline.
Something else. All right, fine.
But I really still want to see fruitcake. But nonetheless, it was nice to see that video from him for Ginger. It was a really
cute surprise.
Performance was worthy of that kind of praise, I felt. But everything else after that really felt like.
But again, that was also a moment. I mean, yes, I thought that
great
Ginger
material
killed
to work with.
Exactly, but I also thought Katya did the best in that. It's the challenge.
Yes.
She did she overcame, kicked that fucking challenge's ass. That was one of those times where I was like, yes, I understand Ginger totally deserves this praise, but why isn't anybody making a bigger deal about what Katya did with her role that was absolutely nothing in the movie and then turned it into something really fun and watchable and redeemed Kennedy in the fucking process?
That's true.
Because, and I don't mean this as too much shade, but Ginger's performance wasn't good enough to outweigh Trixie's unbalancedness in the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, she just made it glaringly obvious that she was better at things than her.
She also had in that scene in that movie in Pink Flamingos, it was really Edith Massey who steals that scene from Divine. It's real. That scene is about Edith Massey, so it's whoever's playing Edith in that scene is the one who's going to steal it. And of course, she was the perfect, not as big as Edith Massey, but she was perfect for that role in that context.
She's got a bad baby look. She can pull that off.
Eggs. All I want is eggs. I kind of do want some eggs.
Ooh, that sounds kind of bomb. But anyway.
But nonetheless, that was really the highlight of the second half of the season for me with Ginger. And I didn't really I don't know, it was she was good, but it was just there was that special sugar and spice just not quite there. And it was even there. It was a nice change, actually. I was kind of laughing when we were watching this in the bar. When they were like, oh, I've changed things up. This time there's going to be one final lip-sync performance by each of the queens in a song created just for them. And the songs obviously were hilarious, but I don't even remember what Ginger's song was, which I think is telling because the other ones were very clear, like Sleepwalker was Pearl's song. She learned some new ways to move her arms, which was really good.
Pearl Smash!
Was no more Pearl Smash.
I'm going to miss Pearl Smash.
But also as far as enjoying the songs individually, I also kind of I don't know, I have slightly more antiquated taste, I guess, in some ways. But I loved the song choice for Violet. It was perfect for Violet. It was sort of an old burlesque style number, and she really brought that. That was a really fantastic little performance. I'm if that's what you do in your shows, I would love to go see it.
Well, I really want to see her silk aerial work.
I was you're on a huge stage. Maybe she's gonna bust that out. No, they wouldn't let that happen.
I know, but I couldn't help but think. So what's really funny is that the 3 new wave queens, I guess, Miss Fame, Pearl, and Violet, all have an album coming out in the next month or 2. And I heard, I watched part of the music video for Violet's debut or single, her single that is dropping or whatever, called Betty, and it was such... it's wiped my memory clean of her lip sync that I liked, actually.
Yeah.
Because it was so jarringly... It was just noise. It was bad. I told you we could watch it with no sound on. Because visually it's kind of cool. She's like, 1950s. Well, then again, it's like I saw
Betty
this
Page.
Yeah, she has the Betty Page wig on, but she's like dominatrix housewife, which I thought was interesting.
Oh my god, it just sounds so... It sounds so great.
But the song is awful.
Which is like usually the case, like, I never
But
really
what's most interesting is that Pearl is going to have a recording career. I say that with my voice getting really high.
You sound very much like Little Aussie from last season. You can tell from the way my voice is going on that I don't really believe. It just, I don't know. I think the reason that they all have albums is
Can we put albums in quote?
Yes, albums with big air quotes around it for most of them. Is that it's the easiest way for them to really support themselves or like really bank on the popularity of the show. It's the easiest way instantly to make money off of having been on the show because it's something you can buy that's right there. It's easy. It's a couple clicks with your thumb on your phone and you have that and you supported this artist that you really love. Even if you don't really love the album, you buy the album because you love what this person does beyond this music. So it's like almost like a way of you to say, like, I can't, there's no show of you nearby, but I'll buy this album of you. I'll watch all your music videos. I feel like there's a little bit of that in every one of these purchases. Of course, I have Spotify Premium, so I listen to them there.
Same.
But nonetheless, of so many, like, Sharon Needles, I never really listened to all of that album. I wasn't really digging the music itself because I'm not really like a dance club type person, even though I really love a lot, like every season there's a RuPaul song that's like the runway song, and I really loved last season's like the whole song. Sissy That Walk. Pardon me.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Just pick it up again when you say you like Sissy That Walk.
Yes, so I actually really loved Sissy That Walk.
I like that song a lot too.
The song is so fun, and
the thing is, I've liked RuPaul's music for a long.
It's good dance music, and it's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and when he does do it seriously, he's actually got like a good singer with him to like, do it with.
RuPaul knows his capabilities and whatnot.
Exactly. So he knows. Like this season's song, like the title, "All Born Naked and the Rest Is Drag."
I mean, I consistently get RuPaul songs stuck in my head.
Like it worked, but like.
But I feel like
everyone
because
tries to do the
Ru
same
has
thing.
a 90s club background, I think
it makes sense for RuPaul.
It does, and I also think that like she has a good ear for like what works and what doesn't, and like I don't know, she stays true to RuPaul. Like when I listen to a RuPaul song, I know what I'm getting, and I feel like it's always really consistently good on that level.
And a lot of these other queens just like they don't have those like musical skills to do that. There's really I'm trying to think the only album that I've ever really liked of any of the queens of ones who've released albums was Jinx Monsoon's. It actually was like a good album. Like it was perfectly representative of her style, which is sort of like, it has touch of the old and the new and like turns one of my favorite monologues from Addams Family Values into a song.
Oh.
What about Debbie?
Well, then I'm going to have to give that a listen.
It's on Spotify.
Perfect.
But for my taste, I actually listen to the album and enjoy the songs. There's a cover of Creep.
Huh.
That's actually good.
Wait, TLC or Radiohead?
Radiohead Creep.
Okay.
Although I would have been even more ecstatic if both of them
It could have gone either
album.
way. I'm okay with either one.
But it was like, I loved the album art. I loved the songs. I was like, this is actually a good album. So much so that I think like legitimate like people in the music industry are like working with her on her second album. And she just has a second version of that show that the Vaudevillians is like the Vaudevillians Bringing Up Baby. So it's like another, she's doing really well. I just liked her music. It was only one. But it's, like I said, an easy way for them to cash in a little bit.
I understand then a little bit better. Because I was just like, what? I had no idea you guys had musical aspirations.
Well, they did say sometime, at one point in one of the musical challenges in the season, they're like, oh, well, Ginger's a singer and Fame is a singer. And I was like, Miss Fame is a singer? I never heard this. Where, who said that? Like, I don't remember hearing that at all.
I remember both of us had that same reaction.
And then we didn't really get that from, like, she was too self-conscious in her performance to really let herself sing. You could tell that she had some skills and she had a range that she could play with, but she got in her own way in the actual singing. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe somewhere she can. So we'll have to, I haven't seen a music video of her from anything on her album yet, but I'll reserve judgment until I hear that.
I'll send them all your way.
Good.
But so, speaking of Fame, what did you think about her tete-a-tete with Ru?
I actually loved. First of all, I want to say I loved her outfit. I thought she brought a really.
She always brings it.
She
though.
does. But I was happy to see that she didn't. I was happy to see that she did not. She wasn't half stepping it, as Michelle Visage would say. So she came looking amazing, and that she brought out her chicken. And then she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm holding it away from me so it doesn't shit on my couture." Like, but then it was like, she's like, "Oh, can we hear you talk to your chicken?" And she goes, "It's like, oh, and you have a friend that can help me do that." She brings a friend out, and then we never hear the chicken talking. We never hear where's Fame's chicken? Where's Fame's chicken talking? That's like what the whole point of this whole little bit was, and then you like cut it out.
Maybe they didn't get good sound on it.
I guess, but you should have been prepared. That is okay. Professionalism 101. Have somebody with a hot mic right there. Right there to capture the chicken noises from Miss Fame's throat. Something about cock and Miss Fame's throat. It's just all adding up.
How's
for
your
me.
head?
Fine. I love that she turned it around on him and she's like, well, actually, there's been some complaints.
But I also like that even though you still maintain the look of fear in your eye when you say fine, like Miss Fame did. Fine.
Hey, I got some skills. I got some acting skills.
And tennis skills.
And tennis, I just don't audition for shit.
You mean I gotta be here and then wait and then...
Seriously, that's the part I'm like, I gotta wait next to all these other assholes that I don't ever want to talk to.
Why can't I just come in at the time and then I leave after?
I'm like, I don't know about playing these games. Can you just, if you think I'm good, just give me the role. I really don't want to pretend I like you because you're not gonna talk to
Let's
me.
just be honest here. We're not gonna like each other or be friends.
We're not friends. I'm trying to get you to give me money for my work. That's all we're looking for here. That is why
money,
I am
I would
never
like it.
in any
if
shows.
If you want to give me it, that'd be cool, but I'm not going to go through this whole rigmarole
I'm like, can't you just discover me in a play somewhere and cast me from that?
You should just be walking around in a mall and someone will be like, him with the beautiful cardigan.
We all have that Lana Turner fantasy. I'm just going to be drinking milkshakes at Schwab's and someone will discover me. Every day I'll have one until you're so fat that no one's going to cast you in anything. Except to play one of Betty Draper's Weight Watcher pals in Mad Men.
Oh, R.I.P. Betty.
I know. A tragic end to that. But
Jesus.
Nonetheless.
Let's go back to non-tragic endings.
Non-tragic
please.
endings. But I was.
Well, this is
kind
of regarded as tragic by some, but not by us.
Because Katya was not there. That's why it was tragic for me. For some people, it's tragic because they wanted Ginger to win. And I was like, Ginger kind of shot herself in the foot with that line because it was a dated line. When she was like, oh, if we can supersize our French fries, why can't we supersize a drag queen? I'm like, well, then in the finale, she was like, I don't think of myself as a big girl. And I was like, well, first of all, we don't supersize anymore. Supersize me busted that. There's no more supersizing at McDonald's.
Well, she's from Florida. You can't expect all of her pop culture references to be on point.
I know, from Gatorland. But then, in the actual finale, she was just like, that's not all of who I am. It's like, I think I should win not just because I'm a big girl, because I'm amazing. And I'm like, well, that is the answer she gave last week. Don't make a joke about being big or but she was playing the game. Mm-hmm. So that was part of playing the game, was playing up this thing that sets you apart. I'm part of this dynamic where I'm one of the big queens that's never quite pushed through to win this show yet. And maybe that'll happen with me because I've got it all. And I'm like, yeah, but I was getting kind of bored. No tea, no shade.
Say what again? You gotta give
LTL shade.
Yeah, you gotta say it a little louder.
LTL shade.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, babe. I'd still gladly come see you perform anywhere you are that I can afford to go to.
Yeah, I think maybe Ginger, she played the game a little too well towards the end, and I think it all kind of blew up in her face.
Which is funny because it's sort of in a way, it's like you worked so hard to construct it, that the construction was so apparent that it turned us off to your performances in a way by the end. And it's the opposite of how the show openly is a construction and shows you how much it's clearly constructed. They're not pretending that they haven't planned a lot of this shit. But it works in its favor, and Ginger wasn't able to figure out that balance that made that that kind of overt engineering of the outcome. Because really, if you're competing, you should be engineering your victory. Yeah. It was just so palpable in a way, there's a touch of the desperation, and she was not willing to admit that she had succumbed to that, maybe not as happy place in her heart to get ahead, because, hey, she was a pageant girl. Pageants are fucking rough. You cannot be a sweetheart in a pageant. You got to pretend you're a sweetheart and be a vicious bitch backstage.
Yeah, I know, and I think that came back to bite her on the ass a little bit.
And it was sad because she kind of felt like she had to pull some of those tricks out, I think, and it sort of soured her reputation. I feel like, this is all pure conjecture on my part, but I feel like that really kind of played a role because the way it was edited, I really felt like I was rooting for Violet. And that's how the show in the past for me has worked. It's like, when I binge watched a lot of the other seasons, because I didn't catch up till I think it was, I happened to catch some episodes of season 5, and I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong with me? And I literally I looked up everything. I binge watched every single season, and then I watched season 5 from beginning to end. And when you watch it, when you're binge watching, you're watching in a set, and you're not watching it divided out week by week by week, where you're sort of trained to be like this salivating dog, You're part of an experiment, and the bell rings, and you're back for more, and then you're just desperate for it until it comes again, and it kind of clouds your vision a little bit. When you watch it, binge watching it, you're able to see that whole construction all the way through, and I really felt like there was a fully realized story of wanting Jinx Monsoon to win. You rooted for her. She had the goods to back up wanting you to root for her. And it really built and built and built and came to a perfect conclusion with her winning in season 5. I still think that's my favorite season of all the seasons. I mean, it's close tie with season 4. But that's you really got that sense. And that wasn't so much Jinx Monsoon consciously engineering it. She was only conscious of trying to do her best every single time and listen to what she was told. And even though she was I'm being true to myself, she found a way to make it work and still be herself, and it never felt shady in any way. She was never shady, even though she could, pull out some deep shade whenever she wanted. But she wasn't that kind of queen. She was just super talented and really earnest and hardworking, and had a really good imagination and a lot of different skills and talents to work with to make that imagination happen on stage and in the challenges. And I felt like if Ginger just trusted that she had it the way Jinx did, she didn't have to play the pageant game with the show. She could have literally I'm really just going to commit myself every week to being as awesome as I can be, because that's what RuPaul ever says. Every time you're on stage, that's the time to bring it. Every single time. That is your opportunity to show us what you have. And, they're not in a position, they're not at a Harlem drag ball where they have to, guard their shoes like their life, so they don't get stolen, they're not in that kind of position, because frankly, there's only, you're sequestered. If some other bitch stole your shoes, I'm you just wore my fucking shoes on the runway, bitch.
Yeah,
you can't
there's more
pretend
accountability in a reality show production.
There's more people watching you, there's more, you can't get away with anything.
You can't get away with anything at all, yeah, exactly.
So it's you didn't really have to do that. But, I mean, it makes for great drama, in a sense, but she didn't really play it for so much drama. She was trying to be really stealthy, and it worked for a long time, and I really liked her, and I thought she was really good, and then it was just it started to peter out. Kind of like Paula Abdul by the end of an episode of American Idol. By the end, she's just kind of yes, clapping with her whole arm. I felt that kind of waning in Ginger Minj throughout the season. So, I felt
think the pressure really definitely got to her the most.
And Violet's arc was on the uptick, while Ginger's was kind of slowly declining a little bit, not necessarily in quality, but in general tone. It just, there was a spark was not there, and Violet, you were turning Violet. The spark was there. It was in full bright glory by the end. So I was everybody, I felt I was not crazy for being Team Violet. Luckily, the person that I joined to watch at the viewing party with was also Team Violet. He's who are you rooting for? And I'm I'm Team Violet. He's oh, thank God. Oh, well, good. Well, I'm not the only one. And a lot of people in the bar actually were Team Violet, more than there were Team Ginger. So I was okay, I felt a little vindicated. I'm not just a total bitch, and I liked the young, pretty bitch on the show, because there was also that kind of controversy with people thinking, oh, well, of course, the young, pretty queen, that's the one who wins. And I'm but
I feel like she's so much more than that. She's not just young and pretty.
There's
and
more
we've seen a lot from her throughout the whole season. Kind of like you said, we saw the whole arc of her kind of growing and learning, and yes, she has all of these skills, she can really sew, she knows her look, she has flawless makeup, she's got a 23-inch waist.
Oh my god, and that montage of all her looks in the season, just every time gag. She's,
I mean, high fucking fashion bitch. She's amazing. But we've also saw her grow in things that she was less comfortable in, acting and singing and doing all that stuff, and she really she really kind of took on the experience in the way that I think Pearl did as well, where they just kind of were like, and I'm along for the ride, even though it took Pearl a lot longer, which is why I think Violet definitely had the more satisfying, like you said, arc all the way through. I guess I just let the conspiracies get to me, because I was never not on Team Violet. There was something about her when she just entered, there was just a look in her eye like, I fucking got
with
this.
With her violet lace, like, 1920s, like,
even
dress.
From, like, when we were watching all of the preview videos, like, she was effortlessly confident, and to me, it never read as cocky.
It just read, like I said, like, I know people like that. And
I know people like that, too. They're not mean or anything. That's just, they don't sugarcoat shit.
I love people like that, you know?
No, don't, like, no bullshit, no tea, no shade. Just say what you want to say. I know it's not coming from any place that's hurtful or mean, like,
which is so funny that,
and
like,
it's very I feel like she's really observational and dry, and
yeah,
that can be interpreted probably negatively a lot more than I think.
Yeah, the Bitter Lady Brigade was like always like everybody was always so butthurt by it.
On her,
but I'm
so
like,
much.
have you not seen the previous seasons? And like, hello, Roxy Andrews was way worse than this in season 5, and she still had friends on that show. I mean, like. So it was like, what exactly is upsetting you guys so
like
much?
with Violet,
and like when Tempest came back, remember that? And she was like, I see the biggest change in Violet. Like, she is like such a warm,
the second to last episode, we even noticed, or last episode, we had noticed that when Kennedy and Ginger were just going in on Violet while they were all getting their hair and makeup ready for the final runway, and everybody, they were just ganging up on her to the point where even Pearl was like, Jesus Christ. But at the end of all of it, Violet was like, okay, thank you for your input. Like, super, like, just took it all with a straight, did not,
and
like...
Pearl even said it out loud.
Didn't make a snarl, didn't do anything, like, didn't pull a stank face. She just, like, sat there and took it. And, like, talk about a giant transformation.
Like, I felt like that was the more satisfying, like,
but I guess it was also the most subtle growth, because so many people crashed and burned, like... really early, or like people like went home for weird reasons, or like some people made it past certain challenges and you're like, how the fuck did that happen? So while we were all doing that, Violet was like quietly doing just fucking fine the whole time
and learning to get along with other people like more, because like I think,
and I guess that doesn't make for a very that doesn't make for interesting airtime for people to watch Violet like get along with others. Like there's better shit to focus on. So I also feel like we didn't see a lot of that, but we also didn't need to.
They showed us enough of it because, I mean, even though she was getting along better towards the end with people, it was like those other people were still, like, you know, it was a competition and it got really close. So it's like that's when all the clouds come out. That's when, like, people say the things that they're most ashamed of. It's most difficult not to say the things that, like, you want to just vent. And I felt like Violet actually did the best job of anyone during that very difficult period. Like, I was surprised that it had flipped. And usually, it's just bizarre that, like, usually the older queens are the ones who've got all the shade, and they're the ones who, like, you have to watch out for. Like, they're the ones who've got the know-how, and they are the ones calling you out all the time. But they couldn't really call out Violet for a lot of things in the course of the show, other than, like, oh, you're not really that great an actress. And, like, well, neither was Kennedy, but she won a fucking challenge in an acting challenge. Like, that don't make no sense to me, but that happened.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was...
She has stage presence.
Yes, definitely. Like, the show is where to see it. RuPaul's said it's like, if you go get a chance to see Kennedy in concert, go see it. Go see that show. Like, I will.
That lip sync sold me on it anyway.
The flying splits to the lower platform.
I will never forget that. That was probably top 5 best moments, just general moments from this 7th season. Jeez, 7 seasons.
Lucky 7.
Lucky number 7.
But yes, Katya got to have her little moment of glory, at least, that this episode. What did she say? She said something about her sticking Rue's wig in her mouth and wanting her to pee on her. And I was like, where are you going with this? Like, you never know quite what to expect, which is what I liked about her. You never knew exactly what she was going to say. She'd come out of, like, way out of left field and then take it somewhere really funny suddenly.
And circle it all together kind of really seamlessly. Like, like the key to courage is the swollen vagina. Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the best lines ever. I
mean, along with everything else she said, all the one-on-ones throughout the season.
It was definitely a different show when she got eliminated, I think.
I know, and RuPaul totally played on our Katya love. Like, he totally just like pulled the rug out from under us. It's like on the next drag superstar, America's next drag superstar is Katya, and everyone's like, seriously, the whole bar, like, we all did that sound like, oh my god, did he just name someone who was eliminated, the drag superstar? What happened? And he's like, water, please. I was just like, oh.
You shady bitch.
I was like, damn you, you totally had me for a second. I was like, you're gonna do what I really want you to do.
I know.
No, you're not. But no, I was happy with Violet winning. No, you just read
Twitter.
But it was so, I love that, I keep going back to remember that wonderful Kennedy moment where it's like, okay. Like, when Violet was like, I think I'm America's next drag superstar, and Kennedy responded that way. I'm like, it looks like the young queens beat out the Bitter Lady Brigade.
Yeah,
so I think Kennedy was
out.
Making that sound for real. Somewhere, I mean, Ginger Minj was doing it on the inside.
Ooh, Lord. You could just tell. Like, Pearl looked genuinely happy. Like, I don't
Pearl's
think...
like, hey, everything's going to go up from here.
Fuck. How did I get here? Whatever. It worked out wonderfully for me.
I'm a sleepwalker.
Smash.
But yeah, Ginger.
Ginger, I feel like I could see her heart breaking in her eyes.
But she's gonna make plenty of money.
She'll be fine.
She might be one of the ones who actually has a decent album because she has a limited range because she's a deep, like, heavy smoker. But
she can still sing.
She still has like the tone and like the rhythm of a singer. So I feel like she has the potential to actually make a good album if she does do that. And I think she's got the acting capabilities to, like, I feel like she's going to be one of Peaches Christ's new guest stars, in her little acting.
I really think this is obviously not the end of Ginger.
We're going to see plenty from her, I'm sure. But yeah, it was written all over her face. I'm like, but I don't know, I felt like I saw it coming. Despite all the internet rumors about her winning, I still had that, like, core, like, gut feeling that, like, really this was going to...
Well, after I read all of the conspiracy theories, I was like, if Ginger does win, that's a shame, because I do think that Violet deserves it. Say what you will, because she's young, whatever, she's skinny, whatever kind of, like, shitty crap you want to come up with. But I think that she was... to me, it was really just down between Violet and Ginger. Yeah. No offense, Pearl. I think Pearl has done extraordinary work. I even said in our written review, I think that she's had the biggest change out of the three queens. Like, the most traceable arc that you can see where, she went from, like, shrinking Violet.
She went to asleep to awake.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, very aggressively awake. And
yes.
So that was the most visible transformation that you could see, but I really thought it came down to, for me, Violet and Ginger. And I personally thought it would have been a shame, because I thought that Violet she was just going to be more surprising. You never know what she's going to do. You never know what she's going to wear. You never know who she's going to be, essentially.
Exactly. Like, you felt like there was a genuine, real, like, personality. Like, there's a real, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so weird. I talk so much and I'm struggling for a word right now. But, like, there was a real genuine, something that she had. It was Violet.
Je ne sais quoi.
A je ne sais quoi. That, like, Ginger was kind of a chameleon a little bit to each challenge. She could do everything in each challenge, but there wasn't any core aspect of, like, this is who Ginger is. Mm-hmm. Within that, I was like, well, I get that Ginger's a really good actress. Ginger's a good singer. Ginger's a good performer. But who is Ginger? Like, beneath that. And I didn't really get that from her the whole season. Whereas Violet, you got, like, a real sense of a fully realized character and persona that you could see a really great show coming out of. But you also couldn't predict what that show would be. You just knew that it would be something that would blow your mind in some way, because she found a way to blow your mind every week. Even if it was only on the runway. I would just imagine that,
like, if she wasn't on the runway, I'm like, I bet she'd, like, sew, like, this crazy backdrop and blah. Like, your imagination goes wild just because you look at her costuming and how detailed and thoughtful it is, and how much just that tells a story by itself.
Yes, there's always a story. There's always a story to what she does.
Well, her bearded challenge, like, her Peggy Sue meets the dude in the bearded runway. Like, I saw the whole, like, 1950s prom, but with, like, you're also the beau as well, kind of thing. And, like, all of her costumes were like that. From her very first runway challenge, oh my God, gag me.
The black sequin with the plaid underneath.
Oh, just open it up.
She had practiced. You can actually imagine her
stomp, like, all of
it.
I think really from that very first moment, I was like, Holy shit, everyone watch out. She's going to come up and just fucking snatch weaves everywhere.
That is the way to introduce yourself to the show.
She made the biggest splash, biggest impression from just the very first episode.
Right from there, we had him like, I got to eat my words. Because when we reviewed the preview episode, I was like, I can see that they've got the look down, but I don't see the personality. Because they just seemed like, the way they edited them, it was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing.
And everybody's wearing all white.
So it was like, oh
everyone
my God.
was very, like, neutral.
Are these the young queens who are going to go home right away because they just don't have anything but this look? But, I should have been smarter because looking back, all those young queens who went home right away, they did not have their look that polished. Like, God help us, Serena Cha-Cha. Nobody this season was a Serena Cha-Cha, thank goodness. That was just dreadful. Go back to season 4.
Okay.
Oh, dear Lord. Like, she didn't last but 2 episodes, and she was lucky to last that long. It was that bad. Oh, I don't know where she is now. She's probably improved, but she was like very like the young ingenue drag of the group. But it was like, no, this time you got someone in there who was like, they've got it all down before they got here. Like, you're not dealing with someone who's just like, oh, I just started out, and
that was Pearl.
And Pearl was that person, but Violet, dark horse. Mm-hmm. Because
I think you said that in one of the very first reviews.
I was like, oh damn, like I gotta eat my words on this shit because this was stunning, absolutely stunning. I've never forgotten it. It's still like that image is still running. You call it up instantly. You know it right away. I'm like, oh shit, I can still see it. I can still see the plaid like unfurling as she spins around.
I mean, I've watched that GIF a bunch of times.
It's
like,
never-ending joy.
Even her ugly clown outfit, like all of it. Because like as a child of the 90s, it's like, what's the ugliest, most terrifying thing I can wear? Clown! Like, I feel like she just...
They're remaking it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
I don't want to know.
It's not hard to make a creepy clown scary for me.
But, congrats to Violet.
Yes, we love you, Violet.
We think it was very well-earned. It was a really subtle... kind of like dark horse sneak up and win it all, but
we were like, obviously we were all like, oh, Team Katya,
of course,
but it's like it's no
but because they were paired together.
That's true, they worked so well together in the half and half
challenge, and they worked so well together, and they're shady friends. I feel like it's almost like Katya winning, kinda. It's
as close as we were gonna get in this scenario, and I was very happy with Team Violet's victory. Come through! Love you. Oh my God, I cannot wait till she comes and performs.
I can't wait to see one of her performances. I'm very excited.
But you know what wait I don't want is the year wait until the next season of this show. Because
there is going to be another... You're going to go there.
Because it's about that time.
Yeah.
And I am so sad that there's not going to be any more. But hey, maybe that UK one will start in the meantime. There's always those rumors about the UK.
No, I thought she officially announced it.
Is it officially? Or just like...
We'll have to double check and then stay tuned to the Gambit Magazine website and if there is a will, there is a way. If there is a RuPaul Drag Race going on in the UK, we will watch that shit. And we'll obviously have reviews and podcasts for it. For all of you that aren't going to... I don't know, don't want to invest the time in being stealthy and downloading shit from the UK, which we don't blame you. That's what we're here for.
We'll figure it out. Logo will probably get the rights to. They've already started the train with their Cucumber and Banana series, which wasn't even their series. It's a British series that is now being aired on Logo.
Oh.
But it's new to us. So I'm like, hey, a little swap-a-roo here.
Yeah.
Hey, it's going to run there, but you're going to air it here too.
Yeah, maybe they'll do it.
Shit.
I mean, maybe it'll be like BBC America, where they have like the first run in the UK and then the second runs in the US.
It just better run here. That's all that matters.
But...
I guess this is our final... The Shady Ladies bid a final adieu
to final you. Shady goodbye.
A final Shady do. A Shady. A Flazé da Shady.
Oh, Flazé da.
That's going in my library. Or my dictionary of
and IJS, I'm just saying.
IJS. She gone.
Okay.
Yeah. And with that, we gone.
But you can always find us at gambitmagazine.com.
Yes, you can. You can find me on Twitter as well at Samiraculous, or on Instagram at Samiracles. You can also find Margot on Twitter.
You can find me at Marg She Wrote, and you can also find the Gambit Twitter at Gambit Magazine.
And of course, if you want to listen to this podcast by going to YouTube, we have it on our YouTube channel, Gambit Digital. And we'll be doing some more podcasting on our double feature podcast coming up.
So make sure you subscribe and download those. We already have the first episode up, that is of Ex Machina and Stepford Wives, the remake. You wouldn't think those two would go together, but you'd have to listen to but you'd have to listen to our podcast to find out how and why.
And I hope you will join us for that. And next year, when RuPaul's Drag Race returns,
or if you're also into America's Next Top Model, when it comes back in August, we will definitely be doing We Were Rooting For You, our America's Next Top Model podcast.
Because that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
That shit is lasting. That show, I mean, I hate to compare it to a cockroach, but it will survive every plague on Earth.
Oh, yeah, and every fucking buyout the CW has to endure.
Oh, yes. No one's getting rid of that, and I'm happier for it. So, I hope that you will join us for those little adventures in podcasting. And it's been so much fun to do this all season long with RuPaul's Drag Race, and I just can't wait for the next season, like every other true RuPaul's Drag Race fan.
Well, it's going to be a long year, but...
It's a final... Bye!